Please start. Okay, so we're going to start with what we call postmodern literature. So we are going to look at some of the features of postmodern literature, but before we start with the features, I think we should discuss a bit about what postmodern means, okay? Like I have mentioned before, the word postmodern has two parts to it, okay? Post and modern. Post and modern, which is supposed to mean after modernism. However, this is not what it means. Postmodernism does not mean after modernism. It does not mean after modernism. Postmodernism is referring to a critique of modernism. This is something we have to keep in mind. Postmodernism is not a separate movement. It is a part of the modern. You could say it is a part of modernism. Okay, it's not a separate movement. However, it is critiquing modernism. A movement can have its own opposites. If in a movement you find that something is opposing it, it is also part of the movement. Okay, we take it together. So here we have postmodern literature. When does postmodernism start? Postmodernism starts in the mid 20th century. Okay, it starts in the mid 20th century. Let's begin with some of the features of postmodern literature. So yeah, we have to keep certain things in mind. Postmodernism is simultaneously a celebration of modernism and a rejection of modernism. Okay. So, because we say postmodernists are critiquing modernists, critique means what? You say whatever is good, you say that's good. Whatever is bad, you say that's bad. Or, if you don't like something, you say I don't like this. But if you like something about modernism, you say I like this. So it's simultaneously a celebration and rejection of modernism. Okay. You will find features of modernism in postmodernism, and then you will find features of modernism that postmodernism is rejecting. Okay, so yes, we start with let's start with metafiction. All right, metafiction is when we have the author, for instance, author entering the story. Okay. When let's look at the term actually, metafiction. What is meta? Meta is above or beyond. Beyond or above fiction. So one of the purposes of metafiction is to remind the reader that what we are reading is just fiction. No need to take this seriously. All right. Postmodernists or postmodern literature does not take itself very seriously. It's very easygoing. You know, it's constantly reminding us this is just fiction. Take it easy. So what the kind of things that we find is narrators entering into their story. So if I'm the author, I'm going to enter into the story and says, as I was writing this, my editor told me, this part, get rid of this part. It is too gruesome for the readers. I said no. I am going to have this in my story. So I decided to have this in my story. You will find this in chapter 6 or something. This is kind of like, I don't know if you guys have read it, Kurt Vonnegut's work. In Breakfast of Champions, Slaughterhouse-Five, works like this. So Kurt Vonnegut enters into the story and starts talking to the readers. Okay. Then we have what we call intertextuality. So intertextuality, yes, intertextuality is not just a feature of postmodernism, it is also a feature of modernism or modern literature. Intertextuality basically means it is like allusion. You are taking references from other places, or the word itself, intertextuality means connected to other texts within texts. All right. So there's a text within text. we have what we call unreliable narration. What does that mean? Unreliable narration means the person who is writing the story, or the author, or the narrator, whatever you want to call him, is not perhaps truthful, okay? Or he has a bad memory, okay? So whatever he's writing is based on incomplete memory, false memory. Maybe he's lying to the reader. Maybe he's telling a lie. Or maybe he's trying to hide something. He's unreliable, in short. Basically, you cannot take his word as truth. We also have what we call non-linear narratives, or there's another word for temporal distortion. Okay. Over here it says storylines do not follow a chronological order using techniques like flashbacks, flash forwards, and fragmented timelines to reflect a subject experience of time. So here's the thing. In non-linear narratives, we don't find a chronology, okay? Or you cannot come to an agreement of a chronology. What that means is this: whenever we look at a story, there's a beginning, ending, and there's a middle part, right? Beginning, middle, end, introduction, body, conclusion, something like that, right? But in non-linear narratives, we don't know what comes first and what comes last. The ending might come first, the ending might come in the middle, the beginning might come at the end, right? It is kind of like the example I gave earlier. If you break a mirror on the floor and it turns into thousands of fragments, and then if you just quickly try to put it together, you will form a very bad looking mirror or incomplete looking mirror. Because there will be lots of fragments, and the fragments don't connect with each other properly. So postmodern narratives are somewhat like this. The narratives are non-linear. There are lots of fragments in the narratives. We also have what is called pastiche and parody. Okay, so it's like I said, modernism has its allusions. What is an allusion? Allusion is a reference to a literary text. However, a parody is a reference to a literary text in order to make fun of it. It is like I said, postmodernism is critiquing modernism. Postmodernism postmodernists are saying, you high class person, you elitist, you are not a big deal. I'm making fun of you. All right, you're a joke. All right, no need to be so pretentious. You're not that big a deal. So this is what postmodernisms are like. They basically use allusion to make fun. They also blend elements from different genres, styles, and historical periods. Okay, what does that mean? They don't follow a set structure in their writing. So at one point you're reading about the modern period. You feel like you're reading modern literature, and at another point you feel like you're reading ancient literature. It goes back in time. It's going to jump from different time periods.
Different style.
Yes, the writing style will suddenly change. And you will know, you will be really surprised, like what's going on? Why has the story suddenly changed? There is also something called black humor or dark humor. I'm sure some of you already know what I'm talking about. There is irony and there's playfulness. So okay, let's just start with one thing at a time. Playfulness. Postmodernists are concerned with play. They are not concerned with design. Okay, modernists are concerned with design. When they write literature, the literature has to be perfect, organized, written in a certain way, written with a certain technique. Postmodernists don't care. It's all fun and games. When they're writing literature, this is for fun, this is entertainment. I'm going to have fun writing this literature. It's about having fun with what you're writing, basically. There's also black humor or dark humor. Dark humor is when you make jokes about serious topics. Okay, serious topics like death, disease, hunger, starvation, serious things. Serious things like things that you would normally not make a joke of. Let's say there's a cancer patient. I'm going to say, let's say I make a joke of that cancer patient. It is, it may seem a bit inappropriate of me to make a joke, right? But postmodernists will make a joke, all right? I don't think I have to explain what irony is. Irony, I think you guys already know what it is.
Opposite.
Mm-hmm. There is also blurring of high and low culture. Okay, this goes back to modernism. Modernism is about high culture. Modernism is about status. Modernism is about the elitists and their, what do you call it? And their superior taste, perhaps. Postmodernists don't care about all this high culture, all this cultivation. Postmodernists blur high culture and low culture. They don't make distinctions, or at least they try to blur the distinctions. Okay? It is like you go to a museum, right? You go to a museum, you see these paintings done by people. But then there are other kinds of painting, like for example, rickshaw painting, right? It might not be to your taste to look at rickshaw painting, but it is painting nonetheless. It is a work of art. And postmodernists are going to say, this is art, this is art. I'm not interested in making distinctions, all right? And then there is paranoia, which is a sense of suspicion and paranoia. Sorry, which is a sense of suspicion. And basically the idea is this. In postmodern literature at least, the postmodernist or the characters are kind of confused. There's a lot of confusion. There is a feeling of danger and threat. Okay? Paranoia is basically what you call confusion arising from being unable to understand your reality. I cannot understand what the society is. I don't know what it demands of me. I don't know what world I'm living in, or I don't know what to do, basically. I don't know what I am. These kinds of odd questions are there in postmodern literature as well. All right? So that is where the confusion comes from. And postmodern literature often deals with these sorts of things. Okay, so you find that modern literature deals with war. There's things like trauma, right? Trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder. You guys have heard of these terms, right? This is taken to the extreme in postmodern literature. These aspects that I've mentioned. Mental illness, taken to the extreme. Unable to understand the society, taken to the extreme. Which is basically what we call paranoia. Okay, I believe we are done with today's slides. Turn it off, please.